If you've tried recruiting in Dynasty mode in College Football 25, I'm sure you've came across one of the toughest questions that nobody knows the answer to. And that question is, should you continue recruiting the player with the actions you're already doing, or is it time to try and sell your school? Well, today I have the scientifically proven answer to that question. In order to figure out whether or not you should do something like a soft sell or do the 25-hour friends and family, I ran a season-long experiment, and I'm going to show you exactly what I found. By the end of this video, not only will you know when it's time to pitch a recruit, but also a simple formula where all you got to do is add 3 numbers and you'll always be able to tell the right action to take. So how in the world did I figure out this formula? Well, here's what I did. For an entire season, I controlled 2 separate teams and I recruited the exact same 35 players all year long. I wanted to make sure that the 2 teams were as similar as possible, so I did Florida Atlantic University and Florida International University. They both had the same amount of stars coming in, about the same overall, and obviously they're both in Florida. I also started a brand new head coach for both and made the coaches identical. Now from there, I recruited 35 3-star prospects and continued to recruit them with the exact same hours for every single recruit until they got to their top 5. And as you know, once a recruit gets to their top 5, that's when you're able to potentially try and sell your school instead of just the basic actions that you were doing all year. And this is where it gets fun. For all 35 recruits, once we figured out what 3 different areas they were motivated by, I would just flip a coin and either FAU or FIU would try and soft sell that school. Now to make sure that we were dedicating the same amount of hours, we would do a soft sell, which is 20 hours, plus the 5 hours of social media. The other school that wasn't pitching the recruit would just do the 25 hours friends and family. In other words, for every single recruit when it was time to sell them, one school would give them 25 hours and the other school would give them 25 hours including a pitch. From there, all you had to do was look at how the influence changed from that week of recruiting. And what did I find? Well, this is everything that I found right here in a picture. Now, if you look at the horizontal axis, you'll see that total points is a number. And you're probably thinking, wait a second, I thought those 3 motivations were letter grades, not numbers. And they are. But all I did was convert them from letter grades to numbers and it became crystal clear what to do. Since you could have an A+, an A, and an A-, that's 3 different options for the A grade, right? Well, it's the same thing for the letters B, C, and D, so that's 3 options each. And then all that I ever saw was F. I never saw an F+ or an F-. In other words, there are 13 possible options and it's pretty clear what's better than what. So to convert them to points, it's super simple. An A+ is 13 points, an F is 1 point, and you just work your way on up and that's all there is. So like a C+ would be 7 points, a C would be 6 points, and you get the picture. From there, if you just add up those 3 scores based off how your school does for their ideal pitch, that's when you get back to that graph I showed you. And if this is getting a little abstract, let me make it totally clear. That red line right there is 19 points. You can get to 19 points a lot of different ways, but imagine if the recruit's ideal pitch, you had grades of C, C, and C+. Well, that's 19 points. So that's where that red line is. Now, every single of the 35 recruits is a point on this graph. And when those points are above that horizontal blue line, that means that selling the recruit was the right thing to do. When they're below the blue line, that means that pitching them was actually the wrong thing to do. Now, that diagonal blue line is what matters, because if you follow that diagonal blue line, you'll see exactly how good the grades for that recruit's ideal pitch has to be for your school in order for selling them to actually be the right move. Let me give you a couple more examples. Let's say you go to pitch a recruit and their ideal pitch, you have grades of A, F, and F. Well, if you do the math, you'd get 12 points for the A, you get 1 point for the F, and you get another point for the F. And since 14 points doesn't get to that 19-point threshold, giving them some sort of hard or soft sell is actually the wrong thing to do. But imagine if the grades on those 3 areas were better, like an A, a B-, and a D. Well, from there, you could add 12 points, plus 8 points, plus 3 points, and all of a sudden you're past the threshold and selling them is the right move. But Max, why are some of the points a little bit above that blue horizontal line and others are way above it? Well, sometimes pitching them would get you a massive gain and other times it would be just a little bit. And the same thing goes the other way. Sometimes trying to sell a recruit was the wrong decision by just a little bit, and other times it was definitely the wrong decision. But if you want something even easier, let's look back at that red line again. And if you look at that red line, every single recruit that had less than 19 points, it was not the right decision to pitch them. Sure, there was that one where it didn't make a difference, but come on. So 19 points is going to be the single most important part of this whole video. Now, when it comes to the formula for you to use on your own recruits, it's super simple. All you got to do is take those 3 letter grades for that recruit's ideal pitch, convert the letters into numbers, and then add them up. That's it. That's actually it. Now, I will say, I did go into this thinking that their first motivation meant a little more than their second, which meant a little more than their third, but I have found that is not the case. It looks like all 3 matter equally based off my math, which is why you're able to just add all 3 of them up and not even think about it. So the next time you're in a recruiting battle for an elite prospect and you can't decide, should I send the house or should I just hard sell and add 10 extra hours, all you gotta do is convert their ideal pitch from letters to numbers Add them up. If it's bigger than 19, you should definitely hard sell. If it's less than 19, you should not hard sell. And if it's exactly 19 or if it's super close, like 18 or 20, honestly, it's up to you. Probably shouldn't make that big a difference either way. Now, if you made it this far, I really do appreciate it. I do not expect anybody to stick around and watch me talk about math for a video game. But if this is your kind of video, please let me know, because I have a bunch of other scientific experiments I want to do with this game, like figuring out the scientifically best juke move, the best way to return a kickoff, and so much more. So if you want to see more of that, consider subscribing, because I can see how many subscribers come from each video. So if these mathy videos do really well, I will continue to make as many of them as you guys want. That's all I got. Thanks for watching again. Peace.